Hi everyone, Nick Kretikos of Nick's Seasonal Decor here. Let me just pull up the live feed on my phone and make sure we are live. So just give me 1 second. Awesome, so we are live. So it's been a while, and I've missed you guys, to be honest. It's been several weeks. I was sick for a little bit, and, just with school and everything going on, I really didn't have too much time to go live. But, things are starting to slow down. School ends in about a little over 2 months, I think. And then I'll have a lot more time to do more lives. I'm thinking one a week at least from here on out. That is my goal. So just bear with me. I know it's been a while. Hi, you guys. So what we're going to be doing today is finishing up a beach wreath. I have this sign that I got from Hobby Lobby. It was $11.99, 40% off. It says no shirt, no shoes, no problem. And then I have this one that says no worries, you're on beach time. This was $7.99. And I already created a 21-inch poof technique wreath. We're going to be doing this in my private group next week if you guys are interested in that. But I already went ahead and made this. I made this a couple days ago, not thinking I would do a live with it. But yeah, so I have just a few choices of ribbons that I put together. I have this that I really like. I have this one, but I don't really like this turquoise blue with the sign. I think this is a little too dark for it. So I think we'll just stick with this polka dot ribbon. And then I have some very basic mesh. This doesn't have any metallic strands. I don't want to add anything metallic to this, so this doesn't have any of the tinsel going throughout. This was like $3, I think, from Craft Outlet, if that, maybe like $2.50 a roll. It's 10 inches. Hi, everybody. And then I have some of this. And if you're in my exclusive wreath community, you have seen me using this in the past. I really like it. It's a snowball type mesh, if you will. It is jute, so it's not plastic. And then it has little strands of kind of like a snowball type material, and it's frayed on the edges, about 2.5 inches. So I thought we would incorporate some of this. I think what I'm going to be using would work for either sign today. So I think what we'll do is we'll cover the base with some mesh curls and some ribbon, and then we'll choose the sign towards the end. I also have some of this that I want to incorporate. This is just your jute, your faux jute tubing. And this is all on a 15 to 24 inch burlap colored work form. Let's see, where did you get the fringe mesh? The mesh came from Craft Outlet. The ribbon came from Craft Outlet. Everything actually came from Craft Outlet except for that sign. The sign came from, what did I say? Hobby Lobby. This one was $7.99. That was $11.99. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some ribbon, cut some mesh in a second. So I'm going to cut these about 12 inches long. Hi, everybody. I know, it's been a while. It's been too long. So we also are working on a new setup for videos. So right now my shop is kind of a mess. We're not going to be in the same location that you guys are used to, but it's going to be for the better. We're going to be using the Mevo with my lights and different tables. It's going to be a lot better. I think you guys are going to like the new setup. Oh, thank you. I love watching and learning from you. How did you enjoy your trip to Dallas? Dallas was so much fun, you guys. I don't think I've actually talked all that much about it. It was, an awesome experience. I still can't believe I went all the way up to Texas, which is like 1,500 miles from Boston, I think. But yeah, it was so much fun. I met so many people. I met so many of my members, people that follow me. I met some of my inspiration. Yes, this ribbon did come from Craft Outlet. So I'm just cutting these about 12 inches long. This is 2.5 inch ribbon. I prefer working with 1.5, but for this style of wreath, I think 2.5 is best. And I am cutting it 12 inches long. You got me hooked on watching wreath videos. Awesome, that's good. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need a couple more. Where is your family? Well, my sister, my older sister Alex, who's usually the camera woman, is at school. My little sister is somewhere with my grandmother, and my dad is upstairs. So it's just me in the shop today. It's not the full family. But my older sister and my dad did come to Dallas with me, and we had a lot of fun. Okay, so we need 6 more total, and then I'll dovetail them, and then I'll start cutting some of the mesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also, you guys, we're getting close to 100,000 followers, which is absolutely incredible. I'm still in shock by that. And as promised, I am going to be doing a big giveaway for that. So if you guys have any ideas as to what you'd like to see, or, yeah, like what you'd like to see to be won, if you will, you know, comment below, let me know. I'm thinking a credit to Trendy Tree, maybe another Amazon gift card, a wreath, and a membership to my community. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so now I'm going to dovetail these. We'll do 3 or 4 at a time. Thanks for the shares, you guys. So all of the polka dot ribbon pretty much has very bright white stripes. The burlap one is kind of more ivory. The stripes aren't as white. I'm looking at about 10-15 colors right now in front of me, and none of them are as dull as this white, which is kind of nice. I kind of prefer it a little bit more dull, a little bit more ivory. Thank you. I shared. Does that mean I win?
I don't know what that...
Uh-oh. We don't need Siri for this. How long are each loops? I don't really measure my poofs. I usually just eyeball it. As long as they're pretty much even, that's all I really care about. So right now what I'm doing is I'm taking the ribbon, I'm folding it in half, I'm cutting from the center out towards the wired edge. Thanks for the shares, you guys. We're up to almost 550? I don't know, I can't see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to make sure I didn't miscount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, we're good. But yeah, I'm not using anything metallic on this wreath. I'm keeping it nice and matte. Okay, last ribbon, and then we'll start cutting some mesh. So like I said in the beginning of this video, this is your most basic mesh. You guys know I like working with the heavy foil, but for something like this, I don't want anything iridescent or any shine to it at all. So we are just using the most basic mesh. But honestly, for $2.50, I think the quality is perfectly fine. For something like this, I wouldn't use it as the base. I think it's a little too see-through for that. But when adding curls like we're about to do, I think it's perfect for it. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting these 15 inches long, and I'm using my rotary cutter. Whenever you guys decide to use this, if you have one, it's a great tool, but it is a little scary to work with, especially when you put in a brand new blade. They are really, really sharp, and you could hurt yourself pretty badly if you catch your finger on it. So never get too comfortable with it. I know that kind of seems like common sense, but you'd be surprised at how easily you can cut yourself with this. So I see some people say a membership, other people say a gift card. Almost 800 people. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Let's see if we can reach 1,000. So this is not Tool. I wouldn't use Tool for this. There will be several prizes, correct. I wouldn't be using Tool for this. I don't like working with Tool all that much, especially for something like this. I would only be using mesh. So what we're going to do when we decide to add this is we're just going to curl it up like this and add one to each. But I'm thinking I do want to add a little bit of this. So what we'll do is we'll just cut some strips of this. I'm thinking we'll just add a little ruffle to each. So I'm thinking no more than 10 inches. I don't know if I have enough, so we'll do 10, and if we have to do every other, we could do that, and then use it whatever's left in another project. See, the problem with being a lefty is that the little hole that they hang it on is at the 1 inch mark, so whenever you're making cuts, you always catch that little hole. Thank you. Congrats on winning first place in the wreath decorating contest in Texas. That was so much fun, you guys. I wish a lot of you guys were able to come. I know we didn't give a huge notice, but for those of you that did come, it was really cool to see some of you guys come and support us. And it was really fun, running around the store, picking out our items. $1,100 people. Awesome, you guys. Thanks for the shares. Alright, I have no idea how many I just cut, but we're going to stop for there and see what we have when we add it into the wreath. And if we need more, we can cut some after. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to ruffle them up. That way it kind of gives an imperfect feel to the wreath. Make it a little bit more rustic. We're going to place one in each. And then we're going to add one curl to each as well. So I'm going to do it this way and then go back and add the ribbon. But if you're able to add it all at once, you can. But I'll just go back and add the ribbon afterwards. So we're adding one to each. I am untwisting it and placing one in each. So these, I'm just eyeballing it. If you want to be perfect, you can fold them in half and see if it's the right length or if it's perfectly even. But to be honest, I don't really look all that much into it. If it looks good enough for me, I will place it in the wreath as long as it looks balanced. That's what I did. Yeah, I moved it over an inch, and then I cut it so that the hole wasn't there. So I'm not worrying about placement right now. I'm just worrying about getting one in each. So I'm just placing this into the twist at first, and then I'm placing the blue mesh right on top, and then I'm securing it by twisting it. But I'm not really twisting it all that much because we will be opening them up and adding the ribbon afterwards. Like I said before, you could do it step by step, or you could just do it all at once. I'm doing these two together, and then afterwards I will add the ribbons. But I really like that little frayed look. It's not overwhelming. If you wanted to do it a different way, you could do it like this. But I don't really want too much of this white showing because the white is kind of harsh. And if we decide to use this sign, I think this white's a little too bright. But with it like this, you don't see it all that much. You just see the frayed edges. Yeah, so this is your typical plastic mesh without the tinsel. And then the other one, in lieu of the tinsel, it has poly jute strands, if you will. So for those of you that are just tuning in, I see we have now 1,300 people. I am going to be doing a big giveaway at 100,000 followers, which is really exciting. So if you guys have any ideas as to what you'd like to see as the prizes, comment them below. We already discussed some of the ideas, and you guys are getting pretty creative. So this is kind of rustic. I mean, I wouldn't really consider it rustic. Kind of like a natural-themed beach wreath. I don't know. Maybe rustic? Okay, so we need more of the blue mesh. I'm going to cut about 5 or 6 pieces. These are cut at 15 inches long. You see that it's at 16, but that's only because I don't feel like interfering with that little hole right there. $100,000. I remember when we were trying to get to 10,000. Way to go, Nick. Thank you. I know, it's unbelievable, like I said before. It's just crazy to think about how many people. But it's all thanks to you guys for all of the shares and the likes and the comments that you guys have provided for me. It's just unbelievable. Okay, so I need to cut a few more pieces of this, so might as well do so now. So these I'm cutting at 10 inches, but I am skipping the first inch to avoid the little hole. Wow, almost 1,400 people. That's awesome, you guys. Thanks for the shares. Because of you, I started my own business. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear stories like that, you guys. Okay, we're almost done. So this mesh is a snowball or snowdrift, I think, burlap frayed mesh, and it is 5 inches without the frays. And then the other one is a 21-inch ivory and natural poly jute burlap mesh. Thanks to you, I started a wreathing, and I also plan on starting my own business. You were the first wreath person I ever watched. Thank you, Nick. Oh, awesome. I love to hear those things, you guys. I really do. Okay. 3 more left, and then we'll be done with this. We can start adding some ribbons. So we have exactly enough of the frayed mesh. Cut 3 more of these. Like I said, this mesh was pretty inexpensive. I think $2.50 or $3.50 a roll. I'm cutting it at 15 inches long. It has no tinsel in it. It's not that heavy foil that you see. It's just your generic cheap mesh. But for something like this, I think it'll work perfectly fine. So the work wreath is a 15 to 24 inch work wreath. So I really wanted to add the tubing before, but I don't know. I don't know if I should add it now. I'm kind of second guessing it. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to see some tubing or just ribbon and then a sign and then perhaps some seashells and starfish? Yes, self-healing. Make sure if you do purchase the rotary cutter, well, first of all, I forgot to tell you guys too. If you guys use these, whenever you're done with them, always make sure you lock them. There's a little red button here, and if you don't lock it, as soon as you touch the handle, the extra sharp blade comes out, and you can cut yourself. So always make sure you lock it. Get into the habit of doing that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not thinking tubing either. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull some of these forward. I always like for my mesh to shoot out towards me, towards the outside of the wreath. I'm not going to really worry too much about it, but at this point, I might as well pull them forward so that they're all facing out. Like that. So now let me grab some of the ribbons. They fell off the table. All right. So I'm not adding anything other than one piece of ribbon to each, and I think we'll get the effect that I'm trying to go for. So we're going to open it up and place one on each. If you want to add more ribbon, you certainly can, but I'm going to try to keep this as cost-effective and as easy as possible. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the ribbon, folding it in half, pinching, placing one in each twist, and I am opening up each twist. And I'm not worrying about the placement quite yet, or the fluffing. We'll worry about that afterwards when we get one piece in each. So this ribbon is wired, good point. When it comes to artificial designs like this, I only use wired ribbon. For fresh florals, that's a different story. And I know a lot of you guys don't work with fresh, but for fresh, I do use non-wired silks and velvets. But for anything artificial like this with mesh, burlap, anything with a bow really, I use wired ribbon. Thank you. So I will have this wreath posted for sale. This is probably one of my first ones I've had posted for sale in a while. So if you are interested, just shoot me a message and I'll send you guys a link as soon as it's up for sale on my Etsy. So the ribbon is cut at 12 inches long. And I am opening each twist and placing it in each twist like that. I do like the look of that where it's kind of jetting out from the wreath instead of lying flat on top. That's just a personal preference. I know a lot of designers that just place the ribbons directly on top. That's just an effect that I'm not a huge fan of, but if you do like that look, you can do it. So it's staying together with the twists. Each of the things you see I place the ribbon into are essentially giant pipe cleaners. And I'm just twisting it around each of the giant pipe cleaners. So if we did decide to add the tubing, I would have added it right before the ribbon with long pieces, or if I forgot, which is a good possibility, and 90% of the things I do, I like to place it afterwards as well, just not as large as I would have before adding the ribbons. Exactly. So a work wreath is already made for you, where you essentially just work on it. You could do your own work wreaths. I have done many on Home Talk. I've done some on this page as well, where I've created my own. I personally like spending the extra few dollars now just for convenience when making mine, because I don't care for the look of pipe cleaners. I know a lot of people get crafty and kind of twist them around. I personally don't like the look of pipe cleaners, so I always remove them, which is perfectly fine. You don't see them after you remove them. But for something like this, I think it's very easy using these, because as you can see, they're the right color, and you don't even see them after you're done with the project. Thank you. Thanks for the shares, you guys. I see them coming in. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and twist the ribbons, fluff them out a little bit, and do the same thing I did with the mesh, which is take the ribbons and point them out away from the wreath, away from the center. So like I said before, you could mix the two colors. I don't really care for this color with this particular wreath, so I'm not adding it. Every time I watch a wreath where they're going to use the tubing, they end up not using it. How would you use it as a bow? I wouldn't be using it as a bow for this design. What I would be doing is creating little loops. I'll show you guys another day, but I would create some loops, or you could watch the other videos I've posted. I would create some loops and add them before the ribbon, or like I said before, if I forget and I want to use it, I would create smaller loops and then place them throughout on top of the ribbon. So this is wired ribbon, so it's easy to manipulate. And like you guys have seen me in the past, I've used, different sizes of ribbon, several ribbons in one wreath, and have gotten a different look and feel. But for something like this, like I said before, we're trying to keep it pretty cost effective, keep it pretty simple. Let me see this one. I kind of like that one, you guys. Keep it pretty simple, pretty cost effective, and not use more than one ribbon. So if you are interested in seeing the base technique, you could check out my other videos. I don't know if I have one with the 21-inch mesh, but I am teaching that method in my group next week if you're interested in watching that. But here's the sign that I actually like better than the original one I wanted to use. I wanted to use this one, but as you can see, this is kind of more of a white, and this is more of an ivory, and it's completely covered in this, whereas this one just has the white with the letters. So I prefer this sign a little bit more. This is what I found at Hobby Lobby years ago. I don't know anybody with the letter M in my family or anybody that wants to order a wreath, but for 70 cents, I couldn't pass it up. So as you can see, you guys can just create different designs, use different signs, and get a totally different feel for the wreaths. Here's some seashells I have, where we could place them throughout. I would probably use 3 like this. Kind of like in a triangular fashion. Well, you guys get the point. Like that. If you wanted to use clamshells, you could use those as well. I have some really large ones if you wanted to kind of hide them or sneak them in. Just make it your own. Thanks for the shares. Yep, for a double you could turn it upside down. But that was just an impulse buy because I saw the clearance sign on it. For 70 cents, I couldn't help but get it. But yeah, so all of this stuff came from Craft Outlet, relatively inexpensive. The sign came from Hobby Lobby. This one was $11.99, 40% off. But everything else you can get from Craft Outlet. So I'll hold it up slightly. I didn't glue anything in yet because I'm still going to mess around with it a little bit. And my glue skillet's off and I'm out of staples for my staple gun. But this is what it looks like, you guys. As you can see, you get a very nice effect with just one ribbon, one roll of mesh, and the 21-inch mesh. So we don't have a whole lot on this wreath, but I think it turned out quite nice. So to attach the starfish, I would most likely, for this style of starfish, I would probably wrap 23, 24 gauge wire around one of the fingers, and then take some floral tape, fresh floral tape, and wrap or bind that around the wire. So I would hot glue the wire, wrap it around, and then add some floral tape. You do got to be careful with these. I have shipped beach wreaths with preserved real starfish like this in the past. And I always make sure to add some bubble wrap and some protection around it. But, there's only so much you could do to secure it because they are real products and they are pretty brittle. These ones are actually pretty okay, but they would break if they got hit. So that's how I would attach these. For the signs, I would use probably 4 staples in each corner with some pipe cleaners, just beige pipe cleaners, and then attach that securely to the wreath. Thank you. So I'll be back on hopefully in the next couple days. I do have a tutorial in my private group this Sunday. If all goes well, I'll either be live Sunday or Monday. Again, in the group, in this page. And hopefully I'll have an update for time for you guys because you guys seem to like knowing exactly when I'm going to be live. But thanks you guys for watching. I know it's been a while, and like I said before, I will try to be on live more often. But between school taking place all day and answering emails and stuff, my time is just very limited. But I am going to have more time, and I will be doing more lives more frequently. So thanks, you guys. Thanks for all the shares again. And how is school going? It's going great. Thanks for asking. Let me see. I love the colors. Me too. So yeah, thanks for all the shares, you guys, and I'll see you all very soon, and I hope you guys have a great night. Bye, everybody.